Hello guys, welcome to Lancelot Show. It'll be a D&D segment. I got some stuff I'm going to read. This is actually the first time starting I'm actually going to start my underwater campaign tonight. So uh, this is going to be an interesting. I don't know. I think we're going to do ship and sailing in a different video. You can actually Google the underwater ship battle, sailing battle. You just Google it 5e style for it, but I'm gonna do underwater combat instead. You also gonna get by the book, the Ghost of Salt Marsh. The book, I have it here, but it's a lot easier just get the stuff that I really need online instead of reading a huge uh chapter on it. Because combat usually is a very big section of the player's handbook as well, and it's just a lot more depth and details. A lot of time you are going to be doing a lot of trial and error while you're doing the combat as well. So this is something that I can actually use. It's like a cheat sheet for me for many points as well. So I'm gonna do underwater combat, and you guys like to know about the ship and sailing part of it as well. Please let me know, and we can go on that. Subscribe, like, and share if you guys enjoyed this video. And let's begin. Let's see here. Underwater combat. This is two different parts of it. This is Underwater Combat 5th Edition SRD. This is from the SRD site. When Avenger pursue Shahaligans back to their underseas home, fight off sharks in an ancient shipwreck, or find themselves in a flooded dungeon room, they must fight in a challenging environment underwater. Following rules apply. When making a melee attack, a creature that doesn't have a swim speed, either natural or granted by magic, has a disadvantage on attack roll unless the weapon is a dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or a trident. So if it's not any of those, so you have a long sword, you're going to have to roll a disadvantage for it as well. So we have a fighter and a ranger. It's going to suck for them. For melee attacks. For a rogue, we have a rogue in our party, so he'll be fine. We have a druid as well. She'll be fine too. Range attack automatically misses a target beyond the weapon's normal range. Even against a target within normal range attack, the attack roll has disadvantage unless the weapon is a crossbow, a net, or a weapon that is known like a javelin. Includes spear, trident, or dart. So our ranger has I think a longbow or a short bow, so that's got to roll disadvantage. Creature and object that are fully immersed in water have resistance to fire damage, so we'll take half. Fire damage will take half. So, but if you have fireball cast underwater, it'll be half that, another half of that, because if they succeed the dex save, so it'll be half of that, then another half of that. So it's gonna be fire is not gonna be really helpful as well. But I don't see much of electric damage. I saw a couple of my buddies have electric spells, lightning spells. So I don't know how will that affect, because it's in salt water. But I'm gonna look that up probably if they don't have the thing here. Let's see here. This is the Dungeon Solver site for the 5e. Movement. First of all, moving on the water is a difficult terrain, of course, which isn't typically tied into the underwater combat rules. It's significant points to remember when running an underwater encounter. Difficult terrain just means the character and creature move as half speed unless otherwise noted. For example, so if you can't swim and you go 30 feet per turn, it would be 15 feet per turn. So half of that. If concern can be ignored, if your character or creature any amount of swim speed. So I know some character can swim, but depending on the class as well. Our fighter is heavy armored, so he'll be sinking down like a log. So he pretty much could be walking half the speed that he has, and the armor negates a lot of the acrobatics and a lot of the athletic skills trait as well. You can gain swim speed. It's a rational trait from race like Tritons or CELs do. Some classes and archetype may also grant swimming speed, such as the Path of the Storm, Herald Barbarian. Another more accessible option is obtain magical items granted the user swim speed. they might hate me because I told them that I really wanted to do this as a homebrew. This is my very first underwater combat, and this is something I really want to do. And I know this is going to be very difficult, and I wanted to make it difficult as possible because I want to at least try this once. I want to do a ship and sailing battle at least once. In my whole DM, for 20 plus years of DMing, I never done this. So this is really exciting for me. Something new, not just mind-numbing dumb. So this is something I really want to do. We're doing the whole thing around Davy Jones. He's the end boss. Weapon attacks. Understandably, not all weapons are able to work effectively underwater. The list of what weapons do work is pretty small, so at least it's easy to remember what will and will not be detrimental to use underwater. If you're using Arctic creatures like Marrow as a DM, you won't have to worry about weapon disadvantage. I found that most of the aquatic creatures use weaponry that isn't hindered by being underwater. So they can also, take tridents and weapons and stuff underwater, so when they defeat the creature as well. Melee weapons restriction. Melee weapons attacks are made at a disadvantage by creatures underwater. However, there are a few exceptions for this rule. If you're using a dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or trident, you can make a regular to normal attack. We know that. Notice that all these are piercing weapons that are thrust forward when attacking. This makes practical sense too. These are less resistant to water and thrusting as opposing to swinging and slashing a bludgeoning weapon. Having a swim speed is a huge boon to any melee attacks. This isn't just because of the increased speed and maneuverability, though. It's also because having a swim speed means that you can use any melee attack without having disadvantage on attack roll. So if they have a swim speed, they don't have to roll a disadvantage. But they don't have a swim speed, they'll have a disadvantage. Looks like that. I'm assuming that logic behind this is that you clearly an expert at swimming, so you know how to swing a sword with enough power, accuracy, reliable deal damage. Okay, so if the fighter knows how to swim, then he will maybe be able to use his long sword or a great sword and so forth as well. Ranged weapons. As you might imagine, shooting a longbow is terribly difficult underwater. Not only that, but even if you manage to pull the bowstring back to resist from the water, it would slow the arrow, making it extremely inaccurate. Ranged weapons are made at a disadvantage unless the weapon is a crossbow, net, or a weapon that is thrown like a javelin, such as a spear, trident, or a dart. Okay, we know that. In addition, that any ranged weapon attack must be within the weapon's normal range, otherwise it automatically misses. That means that a heavy crossbow can only be shot within 100 feet underwater, even though it has a maximum range of 400 feet. So the maximum range either way you'll use is 100 feet. So that is good to know. Firearm and explosion typically don't work underwater, though they may depend more on your setting than anything else. Most of the firearm implemented in my game use powder to fire. It's hard to do that when the powder is wet. That is true. Fire resistant. The only real benefit to underwater combat in 5e is that everyone who is fully immersed in water has resistance to fire damage. Even though it's not much of a benefit for the player, from my experience, figure it is this way. Most creatures that the party will be fighting underwater are probably Arctic or have spent a lot of time in or around the water. Their stats, block, abilities, and spell generally don't include fire damage. Okay. Fire damage is found in some regular spells like Firebolt, Burning Hands, and Firebolt, which most of offense, wizard, or sorcerer have at least one. Reduce the effectiveness of these lessons to party damage output. Okay. And that's the breakdown for the conclusion for that. But I want to know about lightning. What will happen with lightning damage in this as well? Let me go take a look at that. Then we'll just end, then I'll just see what I think. Casting lightning spell underwater 5e. Let's see here. Water and electricity don't mix because in real life water has impurities in it that makes it superconductible. So what happens with a D&D if, for instance, or a sorcerer casts Shocking grasp on a creature underwater. Will the spell not work? Would it affect the caster as well? Would it spread and hit everything underwater? Let's see the answers. The various lightning spell you mentioned, Shocking Grasp, Call Lightning, and Chain Lightning, none of them mention interaction with water in any way. So they don't. Spells only do what they are say to do. Although a DM is free to rule otherwise, also seeing the end of the quote at the end of my answer. The section in the Player's Handbook about underwater combat also don't mention anything about lightning spells behaving differently in water. Regarding upper class casting spell, any spell that has addition to other effect when you cast has a section that starts with a higher level, and no spell mention how lightning spell is enhanced by water when upcasting. Nothing in the rules causes the fireball to vaporize water. Magic does not equal to physics. DM may apply whatever magical scientific logic they like. So I can just fuck with the party when you say, oh, I'm going to cast Chain Lightning, and I can use the physics for that, but it is not in the Player's Handbook. That is also another homebrew that you can add to your guys' campaign and shock the fuck out of them and everyone else around them as well. I will have to go over that with my party if they really want to do that. Yeah, it's gonna be a vote. It'll be 5 people, so just need 3 out of 5 to say yes or nay. So that's basically it. It's in the Ghost of Saltmarsh book. You also look these up online as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, and share. And this is gonna be a longer video, might be a 2-parter for ships and sailing. But if you guys want me to talk read more about this and the combat for this, then please let me know down in the comments below. Take care, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.